Hello, everyone. Today, I have a very special episode of the Six Figure Systems podcast where we are going to be talking all about what it takes to have a six-figure business that is a sustainable business if you are just starting out. And the reason why this podcast topic came around is because I have so many of my clients that see where I am now, making six figures per quarter, and they're like, okay, but if you were in my shoes, if you were just starting out, what would you actually need to do to make six figures? So, within this episode, we're going to talk about myths about what a six figure business is and isn't. We're also going to talk about what you need to do and who you need to become as a six figure earner. Then, we're going to talk about data that's important to gather. And last but not least, we're going to be talking about how to systematize a sales funnel. Now, the reason why many of you guys are asking this is because not only am I going to teach you like how I would do it now, but I'm going to help you prevent so many of the mistakes I made at the beginning. Because when I was starting my business, I felt like I had to work all of these hours, and you absolutely can work a bunch of hours within your business. You can have a business where you are in it all the time and that you're working all the time. And my clients see me, and I'm actually going to Africa with my family on Friday. Even though I am in a launch of my mastermind, I still have plenty of work life balance. And that's the kind of business they want too. They want to have the balance so that they can travel, they can spend time with their family without having to worry about making sure their business is running on the back end. And that's exactly what I have created. So, this podcast is all about specifically what I would do if I am beginning starting a business, if I'm just starting out and if I still wanted to have the sustainable lifestyle that I have right now. So this is important for you also because like I mentioned, I am in a launch of the Six Figure Systems Mastermind. It is my 6 month group coaching program where you would get a week-long intensive for Systems Week to get started on November 18th through the 22nd. And then we would get started working together for 6 months from December 4th all the way through the end of May. So I know many of you guys are interested in learning more about that, wanting to get started. I'll give you a couple more details at the end of this podcast. But in the show notes, there is a link that has the join the mastermind button, and you definitely want to click on it. You'll learn more information and you'll actually see how you could join right away because enrollment does close November 10th. So you want to make sure that you're in there. You want to make sure that you are getting in as soon as possible because you want to make sure that you get this for the end of your fourth quarter. If you want to finish this year strong and hit your goals and start next year so much stronger, this is definitely a program for you. So, little spiel, and then let's get into why and how you need to make six figures as a beginner. So, first and foremost, with this podcast, I wanted to go over misconceptions. I wanted to do a little bit of myth busting about what it takes to run a truly sustainable six-figure business. So, first and foremost, you do not need to spend hundreds of hours copywriting. I'm going to say it again. You do not need to write your posts and your emails and your blogs, and that should not be what you spend your entire day on. You want to make sure that you have a marketing presence. You want to make sure that you have some sort of thing going on social media, something that's going on your website, whatever you have as your main source of marketing. But you do not need to spend hundreds of hours copywriting. I want to let you know that the truth is to have a six-figure business, you can spend 30 minutes of copywriting per post and repurpose it. And that's actually the system I teach my clients, of course, because I want you to actually have a life. I don't want you, you're not in this business, especially if you're a life coach, you're not in the business of copywriting. You don't need to be an incredible writer. You don't need to have that post that somebody says, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I'm absolutely going to reach out and DM Megan right away. And then I'm going to book a consult without even having to work with her, especially at the beginning of your business. That is not going to happen most likely. Now, you got in this business to serve people. So that's where you want to be really focusing. Your energy and effort needs to be less on perfecting your copy, which is the captions for your marketing, and more on actually serving people, getting out there and finding people that you can help, which comes to my next point. A lot of people get really sucked into social media. And I want you to have a presence on social media. And I want you to use time on social media for something that is actually productive. But the myth here is that you do not need to have a bunch of people liking or commenting or have a reel with a huge amount of reach in order to have a six-figure business. The truth is, you can have a six-figure business with few to no likes on your post. Here's why. You are not an influencer. Your goal is not to have a bunch of people liking and commenting on your post. Your goal is to actually get people to provide your service to. And if you are a coach, that means that you need to bring in people that you are actually coaching. So instead of being focused on the people liking and commenting on your posts, what you need to do is you want to focus less on the likes and comments and more how you can connect with people. That's where you want your energy to go. The other thing that's the truth about a six-figure business is for me, I don't have a huge audience. I at this point when I'm recording this podcast, I have 3,000, like 300 followers. And I made my first six figures with a little over 1,000 followers. I think I had maybe 120 people or friends and family on my email list. And I was able to still scale to six figures with a general coaching business. I made 102K before I ever started a mastermind or anything like that. So I want you to know that you don't have to have a big audience in order to have a six-figure business. You can have a 100K business with a small audience. I've done it, my clients do it, and so many people, what many of my clients that are now coming to me, they have way bigger audiences than I do, and they don't have the system to convert those people into actual paying clients. So that's why they come to me, because even with 300 people or 3,000 followers, I've made over 300,000 this year. I think I'm at 360 for the last 12 months, and I've made around like 650 so $1,000 for the past 4 years. And there are people who have way more followers than me, have had their businesses longer than I have, and have made way less money than me because they think that the key to having a six-figure business is having this huge audience. And that is not true. You just need to convert the people that you have. Another huge misconception. Oh my goodness. I have not seen this as much because y'all know I'm a lot about like the cheap and cheerful way to build a business. I am all about making sure that doubling down on the free resources that you already have. Because for me, when I was building my business, I I was an elementary school teacher. So it wasn't like I had a huge ad spend budget. It wasn't like I had a huge credit limit. I had to make sure that I built my business in the most lean way possible in order to get the results I have. Now, many of my new clients, they actually do ads. They're doing ads just starting out. And I want you to know that you do not have to do ads to have a six-figure business. The truth is, you can have a six-figure business without ads. I think I made around $400,000 without ads in my business. And I did that all through organic marketing. I did that through having conversations with people. I did that just through the free things I had on social media. And I know that you can do that too. So if you're freaking out about your business and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to spend all this money on ads and things like that, I put all my money into coaching. I learned the skills to grow my business organically. And I want you to know that you can do that too, even if you're just starting out. I also want to say that, like, the biggest thing is that when I was building my six-figure business, my business, my first six figures, I really, really thought that I had to sacrifice my life in order to do it. And I had figured out how to have work-life balance within my teaching career. But one of the things that I hadn't figured out was within my coaching career, how I could have work-life balance. And I was working over the holidays. I remember I was at the beach and someone booked a consult, and I was so excited that I didn't go to the beach with my family and the consult fell through and I missed that time with them. I didn't actually go up. And again, it's 2024 when I'm recording this podcast, but one of my pretty much like a surrogate grandfather to me. Ended up, I hadn't seen him since pre-pandemic, and I could have gone up to go visit, but I didn't. And he ended up passing away. And so I want you to know that, like, I thought in order to have a successful six-figure business, I couldn't have a life. And I want you to know, especially if you are a life coach, you having a life means that it's actually more compelling for your clients to see that you've created this amazing life and are able to run a business alongside that. The way that I actually feel like my main thing right now is the fact that I'm doing all this travel. I'm living it up, and my clients aren't taking a hit, and I'm still able to sustain all my marketing. I mean, I think this year I'm going to go over like 18 to 20 trips in this year alone. And I want you to think of that being the way that your clients actually start working with you. The truth is, you having a six-figure business could mean that you could have an even bigger life than you can even imagine right now. So I wanted to say that because those are the biggest misconceptions I see with so many people. And I don't want you to make those mistakes before I tell you exactly how I would help, what I would do if I was starting a business to make six figures just starting out. So that is the first thing. Then I want you to know that the biggest part about having a six-figure business is not actually what you do, it's who you are as you do it. So I don't care where you are listening to this podcast, whether you are driving, whether you're putting away the dishes, whether you are cooking or listening to it intently and taking notes. I want you to think about right now about what it would look like for you to be a six-figure earner. I want you to sit up a little bit straighter. I want you to think about, okay, if I really was a six-figure business owner, how would I show up? What kind of things would I be doing in the world? And I want you to think about this six-figure version of you being within the next 12 months. So, whatever time you're listening to this, I want you to think about 12 months from now. And if you're listening to this live by October of 2025, that you have a six-figure business. I did an episode I think a couple of weeks ago about your future self. And I think a lot of times people project their future self, and it's good to project it really far into the future, thinking about, okay, like where do I want to be 5, 10 years from now? It's extremely powerful. However, I think that sometimes we forget that we need to be that version of ourselves right now. And if you're thinking about scaling your business to six figures right now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about who would I be if I was a six-figure owner right now? What would I be thinking when I'm listening to this podcast right now? What would I be doing to make myself hit six figures within the next 12 months? What advice, if you get to 12 months from now and you've made six figures, what would that version of you have to give you? What advice would that version of you have to give you right now? And here is why this is so important. I think a lot of people think that you have to do a lot of things in order to have the thing that you want, and then you can become the kind of earner that you want to be. For instance, people think that they need to do a bunch of marketing and work with a bunch of clients in order to have a six-figure business, in order to become a six-figure earner. And that is the least efficient way for you to go about building your business. What you need to do is you need to think about who you would become as a six-figure earner. And I guarantee that you will do different things, and then you will have the business faster than you ever imagined. So for me, when I'm thinking about my business, the reason why this came up as the first piece of advice I would give you if you're just starting out and you want to make six figures is because I was heavily reliant on my six-figure self in order to solve problems like a six-figure earner. For instance, when I started my business, it was fall of 2020. So it's like literally like just around 4 years. I actually found out I filed my LLC, I think in September of 2020. So like really like pretty much a year to the date, 4 years to the date. And what happened is I started my business, I signed clients, and then I went from October to April of 2021 with no consults. 7 months without any consults. And I want you to think about how that version of me needed to show up in order to continue posting, to continue to talk to people online, to actually make plans for the future years. So I actually left I was still teaching at the time. I needed to leave my teaching job that year, and I had already talked to my principal about leaving teaching before I had gotten consults in. I also need to plan my investments. So I spent money on certification, all this business coaching, marketing coaching, all of these different aspects of my business before I had been able to actually make my six figures. And that's because I was relying on my six figure self, that six figure version of me, to make decisions for my business. If I had been relying on my teacher self to make those decisions, she never would have spent the money on the programs because she didn't believe in herself. She also never would have, she wouldn't have continued to post when people weren't booking consults because she would be like, oh, it's not working. Versus my six figure self is like, I'm going to figure out a way to make this work. Come heck or high water, I'm going to make this work. And that version of me that would determine, focus, laser energy created the six figure business that I have now. And that goes for you as well. You cannot mark, like, if you were to even just think about writing a post right now versus how your six figure self would write the same post, I bet you would be different. And as I am evolving, now my goal is to have $1 million business. I'm focusing on my seven figure self. And that is the version of you that is getting to these podcasts, that is delivering this information to you, that is helping my clients right now. That's the version of me that is actually taking action. And you have to be that version of yourself before you have it. So for me, I also in that 2021 year, my first year part time, I was trying so hard to hit six figures. I started a freaking podcast. I did a group coaching program that was a random 1 month long program. I think I sent in that year, I think I pitched myself to like 8 different organizations. They all said no. I also moved. I left my teaching job. I was going through all these things. And within that version of myself that year, I really, really wanted to hit six figures. And up until December 31st, I was going ham on that goal. And that version of me, by showing up like I did in 2021, and I made 47K, which was surely disappointing. Like that was definitely not the goal. I was truly devastated when that didn't happen. However, the tenacity, the grit, the resilience and determination that I built within that year led me to make $120,000 in 2022. So you need to be that version of you to take the action, and that action has compounding results that last years and years from now. So you need to stay laser focused and show up like that version of you today. And that version of you is going to give big ideas for you to keep going, especially when you're not seeing results. Because in that first six figures, it is a lot of trial and error. If you don't have somebody to give you the exact steps to take, and you need to be, it is going to take every ounce of you that is trying to make you avoid failure and avoid that wants to be accepted, not rejected, and you want to feel like what you're doing is working, and it's not going to feel that way a lot of time at the beginning, again, unless you know exactly what to do, which is one of the reasons why I started my whole coaching program, because I'm like, you have to deal with enough. When you first start your business, it's like, oh, there is so much that goes on within that first six figures, and you need to show up like that version of you today. So I want you to listen to the rest of this podcast like you're going to make six figures in the next 12 months. What would you be thinking? What would you be doing that's different than what you're doing right now? And what advice would that version of you have to give you to take action, even when you might not see results right away? That is the first thing. You need to be who you want to be before you can have the how. So that's the first part. If you want to start a six-figure business, what I would say, if you're starting from scratch, that's what I would do. Be your six-figure self in order to take the right action now. Now, the next thing that you want to do is you want to gather data. I see so many people that I work with, particularly coaches, that love coaching. They get certified. They love to be coached. Maybe they've listened to coaching podcasts. They feel like they're just, it lights them up, and they really have. And I felt this too. Like my entire life made sense because of the effort that I had put into like getting coached beforehand. And I loved coaching and I love providing a service. And when I started my coaching business, I swear, honest to goodness, guys, you might be laughing at this, But I thought that if I just started a coaching business, that I would just get clients. Like it'd just be like, oh, yeah, people would see that I was a coach and I would just sign people. Versus what I would love for you to do, and I have a way to troubleshoot this if this is you. But before you get into deciding your service, I would think about what is a problem that service solves. Okay. Especially if you're a coach. I see so many people starting coaching businesses that are like, yeah, like life coaching is the best. You should do it, but they don't have a specific problem that they're solving. So I want you to think about what is a problem that coaching solves for you. And this is where I think it's really important to think about like what are the intangible benefits of working with you? Are you when you think about coaching itself, do people become more confident? Do they become less stressed? Are they able to manage their time better? Do they have work-life balance? Are they able to think about their future plan and direction? What are the actual milestones that somebody is going to create because you are solving it with your solution, with your service? That is a huge piece that I see so many people making. And that's why it's the first thing I have my clients do. I'm like, what is the problem that your service provides? This does not mean niching. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be like women in their 30s. I'm going to help them to feel to be by their mothers. Like it doesn't need to be that specific, but what do the mothers need help with? If that's what you're thinking about, do they need to be more confident? Do they need to have less mom guilt? What are the things that you actually help people with that you can be like, there is a big problem for this and there is a need for this. There is a demand for this business. Now, if you're like me and you started a business and you're like, oh, I started a business and didn't really have a problem that I was going to solve. What you do is you think about, okay, what problem do I solve? What problem am I seeing reoccurring? And that's what I found with my clients is that they were struggling with burnout, time management, work-life balance, confidence, and long-term plans. So what I had to do is I had to go in and say, hey, if you don't know what your long-term plan is, I am a solution for you. That is what I do as your life coach. And then people were like, oh, that makes sense. Versus just saying that the solution is coaching for all the problems. You want to be really clear about what your problem is. From there, you want to think about who has that problem. Now, again, this doesn't necessarily mean niching, but you want to think about market research. Who is a problem? Who is a population that needs this support? Is it moms? Okay. Is it people with careers? Is it people who are wanting to have a career? Is it business owners? You want to think about who is the exact problem for and where is the target market? Where is the target population that you could think about benefiting that offer that also includes your personal experience? So I had one of my clients was like, hey, I want to work with people in the financial district in New York City. And I'm like, okay, no experience with it. Literally, like they had never been in finance. They didn't know anyone who was in finance. There was no way that they could connect with the target audience. So you really want to think about, okay, is this a population that I have access to that I can be relatable, inspirational, and aspirational? How can you make sure that your business starts like that? And if you're like me, where it was like kind of like I built my business with need, I was like, okay, who needs help with confidence? People with careers. So then I just started to kind of like talk to people about careers and the confidence they would need in their careers. And that kind of was like something that came up on my coaching calls. So you don't necessarily need this, but if I was just starting out, that's what I would do. And you also want to be like, here is a problem that my service solves. For instance, when I was thinking about being a systems coach for business owners, especially life coaches, I saw that there was a need that there were life coaches, only 0.02% of life coaches in 2023 made six figures. I'm like, that is a crying shame. And I know that my systems would fix that. I know that not enough life coaches are making the amount of money they deserve, and I can fix that problem. So that became really clear is like If life coaches aren't making six figures, six figure systems is a solution. So I was going in and I'm like, this is their problem. And it didn't necessarily become that, like, I thought I was going to do the business fulfillment initiative. I wasn't sure what it was at the time, but I want you to think about right now how you can articulate your problem, their problem, and your solution in a way that makes sense to them. And I want you to gather that data to think about that. Then I want you to think about, okay, so now I've got, for me, like if I was just starting out and I'm like, I have a problem. Life coaches have a problem that Six Figure System solves for. I can identify that these life coaches need this offer, and I know that I can collaborate with like accountants for life coaches or website creators for coaches or branding for coaches, and I can help them. We can benefit each other. What I would then do is I would think about, okay, what is an offer that is something that is just delightful, something that would be irresistible, that would be an overachieving benefit for that population. And I would think about how to communicate that. So I knew that systems would save people time. And I knew that people would create more work-life balance because of the systems that I have. And they would make more income and impact in less time. So it's like a win, win, win. I knew that that was going to be happening, but I'm like, how? How can I articulate that Six Figure Systems does this for people? So what I did is I created a six-figure offer. So within the 6-month program, I was like, what do they need systems for? And I was like, they need to make sure that they're mastering marketing, that they have a very clear way to market their business online so people know that they exist. Step two is they would also need to have a very clear way to manage leads, which means that they would need to generate leads that they're going to need to bring people in. And then they're going to need to nurture and manage the people that they have in their current audience. By having those two pieces, they are going to be able to bring in more people. They're never going to have an empty DM. And then from there, I was like, they need to have a place to sell. They need to actually know how to do a consult call in a way that converts the people in their audience. And then they need to plan it. So for me, my six-figure offer within six-figure systems has the intangible benefits of marketing, managing leads, selling, and planning. And this is critical because as let's say you're a coach, you aren't going to have maybe physical benefits that they might experience right away. So people always forget how much they grow when they're within your programs. Always. That's just how the human brain works. And you want to be like, here's where you are with burnout. I can make you better with burnout by doing my coaching. And by you communicating that, then they have more patience. They are expecting that these are the intangible ways they'll grow. I would say the secondary result for mine is that they get more time back. And the last one is their income increases. But then they're seeing results before they see the tangible benefits. So you want to communicate that they're intangibly growing. And then you also show them the tangible growth. So that's what you want to be doing. And that's what you want to be thinking about is how can you create a six-figure offer that is really clear, that is very compelling, that they urgently want to throw money at you, that they're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I need. This is exactly what we're here for. And then last but not least, you want to be thinking about, okay, what is my goal number? How many people would I actually need to sign to make six figures? Now, you guys might already have those numbers, but if you're doing, if like I'm thinking about six-figure systems, because it is a 5K program, I would need to have 20 people within the whatever time period I have in order to make six figures with that offer. So then as I'm thinking about that offer, I'm like, how would I be able to serve those clients? Like if I was doing six-figure systems as a one-on-one program for 5K, I would need to make sure that I have time set aside to serve 20 people. If it's still 6 months, that would mean I need to sign 10 people in the first half of the 6 months and 10 people in the second half. And that is how I could break it up so that I could hit six figures within a 12-month period. So I want you to know your numbers. I don't want you to be like, yeah, I want a six-figure business. Like that, who doesn't? Like, I don't know anybody who would not love a six-figure business. That would be delightful. But I want you to know your numbers and take your business seriously. Coming back to your six-figure self, not just thinking about it like, okay, I want to have a six-figure business someday, being like, what would it take for me to have that six-figure business right now? Do I have spots on my calendar for 10 people? How would I need to schedule my calendar and putting those spots in ahead of time so that I'm ready to serve them? And the other thing that a lot of people don't think about, which is kind of coming into like the next piece of the what I would do if I was making a 100K business to start, what I would do is I would, along with thinking about the time it takes for you to actually serve your clients, is like what I talk about with my like 8 hour work week. You got to have time for the back end of your business. I've seen so many clients that get clients, they get clients that they're serving, let's say they're coaching them. And they are like, oh my God, I have to get my post out. Well, I don't really have time this week because now it's a holiday and now I've got like all this other stuff I need to do. It's my kid's birthday. We had a power outage. My car got a flat tire and now I can't get my marketing out there. And then what happens is no one sees about your offer and you're like, okay, well, it's like fine. And then it goes maybe 1 week, another week. The inconsistency creates stagnation. And when you're thinking about a six-figure business, that is a business that is consistently showing up, consistently getting people in their DMs. So consistently actually converting people and actually consistently planning for the way that their business is growing. So I want you to think about for you, how are you able to think about your business, not just in, okay, I would 10 people, I would need to serve them. What do you need to do to make sure that the back end of your business doesn't fall apart when you get those clients? Because that's another thing that I also know that I personally experienced multiple times is that I would get fully booked and then I would be like, oh my God, I have no time to get things done. And then that led to me overworking. You want to keep it sustainable, especially if you have aspirations of growing your business past six figures. If you want to do things like have groups, if you want to have more one on one clients, you're going to need to make sure the back end of your business is running without you. Now, I was thinking about this morning and I was thinking about like how when I was teaching, in the job description, there is be a teacher, but there's also a lot of stuff that happens on the back end of a education system. Like I needed to go over the curriculum. I needed to grade things. I needed to do report cards. I needed to make sure that the lessons were ready to go. I needed to get worksheets printed out. And guess what? That was the least favorite part of my business or about my teaching job. It was like, this is not super fun. I didn't love it, but I knew it needed to be done. So I made systems to make it work. That's why the last piece of if I were to start from scratch and make a six-figure business, it would be systematizing a sales funnel. I know that I'm going to say this and people are going to be like, there's no way. But I am not a huge social media person. I genuinely think that if I didn't have a business, I would not have social media. I just don't love, I don't love it. However, it is a necessity for me with my business. It is a free source. I mean, it's not necessarily a necessity, but it is free. It can give me access to more people I could help, and I can figure out how to utilize it. So it's like kind of like a necessary evil for me where I'm like, okay, when I'm thinking about my business, I know that I want to have a place where I'm marketing my business that's consistent and one that I can make really, really easy. So like I was saying with the teaching, nobody likes the report cards. I don't know any teacher that's like delighted to do report cards. I don't know many teachers who are like, I can't wait to make a lesson plan. This is going to be great. It's not the fun part, right? I don't know many coaches that are like, can't wait to write a post for social media. Super hyped to like look at a managing lead spreadsheet. Can't wait to do this consultation eval. That isn't the part that she usually sparks joy, but it is a necessity. And what you want to do is you want to systematize the necessities so they don't take any extra brain energy. So many of my clients, they give so much energy to the simple things that their business just needs to run instead of just making a system for it, making it super easy so that they can just follow through with the plan and they don't need to worry about creating all of this new other stuff. They can just do something that's really simple, that is routine, that they can keep up if their life feels like it's falling apart and or if they feel like their business is falling apart. a way they can keep showing up if they go 7 months without consults, a way that they can show up if, like me, going through a breakup, moving, having to move back in with my parents, financial struggles. I mean, like so much has happened on the back end of my business with my life and with the business side of things that like have been so hard. And if I didn't have my systems ready, my business would fall apart. There's no way. And again, coming back to your six-figure self, how can you make sure that you're supporting your business like the business you want it to be before it is the business that with the business you currently have? So I want you to think about for any sales funnel, you've got marketing one to many at the top. Then you have managing leads, which is one-to-one DMs, whether it's in your email, whether it's in your social media inboxes. Then you have a consult. Then you have the plan where you're actually going through the metrics that matter, managing, figuring out what you evaluate for each week, and then managing the calendar coming out of that. I want you to think about how you are doing that funnel. And I want you to think about how you are getting these people into the offer. So now we've got the goal. Let's say it's 20 people. How are you getting these people in? Where are you marketing? How many times a week are you marketing? Do you have a simple structure that you can market even if you're out of town, going to Africa, or doing something else that's like a fun thing? Or maybe when life happens, you have a way that you can still stay consistent on your marketing. The next piece is how are you managing leads? Are You need to have a system in place to bring new people in. I have so many people that are like, yeah, my audience, like, and I'm saying that your audience doesn't need to grow a ton, but they're like doing nothing to get out of their little bubble. And I'm like, you guys got to get out. You got to talk to new people. I don't know if it's going to be with a presentation, whether it's a collaboration or just a referral partner, but man, y'all need to get out and generate and bring in new leads. Leads are people that you could work with. Within that, you also need to make sure that you're nurturing your current leads. I have so many clients that if I had $1 for every time that I heard somebody say, I just need a bigger audience. I just need to get in front of more people. They are completely neglecting the people they already have. You currently, I don't know where you are, I don't know how big your audience is, but you have a network of humans that you have interacted with over the course of your lifetime. I don't know where they are, but I'm saying that you do have a network of people that you are in contact with. I want you to nurture those people. Maybe they would be a good fit for your service. Maybe they would be a great brand ambassador so that they can tell friends and fam about what you do. But you want to have a way that you're talking and nurturing your current audience as well. Because let's say you get all these new people coming in, then what? Are you just gonna leave them to dry too? Are you gonna say that, oh, well, they didn't buy from me for the past like 6 months, so like they're probably never gonna buy? What do you mean? It's like we need to actually have a way that we're talking with people. I've had people sign up to work with me. We had been talking for 3 years and they finally decided to sign up to work with me. I have had people who have gone to a consult, said no, and then 6 months later, they're a yes, or a year later, they're a yes. I want you to think about how are you nurturing your current audience and how are you managing both of those things. I recommend alternating, but you want to make sure that you're systematizing that piece of your funnel. The next piece is, do you have a consistent way you're doing sales calls to convert people? Are people actually just booking a call with you and they're like, all right, we're just going to see how it goes? Versus, do you have a set way that you walk them through your consult? Not a script, but a blueprint, I like to call it, where you have specific steps that you take people through and something that's compelling that makes them want to buy your six-figure offer. If I went on to a six-figure systems consult call and I was like, okay, so just tell me about where you want to be 6 months from now. People would be like, I would like to have 100 that like just basing it off the name. They're like, oh, I'd love to have $100,000 business. I also would like to make sure my ads work. I would also make sure that I would want to create a course and I'd want to create a membership, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, that's not what I do. I can't help you with that, but I can help you to create a system that you can market and batch your content out a month in advance. I can help you to make sure you never have a lull in your DMs with my engagement protocol. I can help you convert more sales with my consultation blueprint. I can help you to plan out your year using the CEO operations. That's how I help with six-figure systems. I have people telling me that they're like, I don't know why like no one's buying on my consult. And I'm like, well, it's a little vague. They're not feeling compelled and urgent. Like this is the most important thing for me to be buying right now. So you need to sell your offer like that in the same way. And the last piece is you need to make sure that you have a plan for your business. When I say, how many clients would it need for you to take, how many, what would your week need to look like to bring in, let's say, going back to my example of the 100K with 20 clients, how am I bringing in some of those 20 clients starting this week? What am I actually doing? How am I moving the needle forward? What are the revenue generating activities? And what are the activities that you're going to do that are going to give you the best ROI or return on your investment? That's what you need to be focusing on. And I see so many people that are like, I've been posting every day for a year, not seeing much. I'm like, well, have you evaluated it? If I was posting for an entire year and I didn't see anything change and I didn't see anyone messaging me, you can't just keep doing that. You need to know what metrics you're tracking, and it's not likes and comments. It's about how many posts you're doing and how far you're getting engaged, how much you're doing to talk to your audience and talk to future people. How many consults are you getting? How much money have you made? And how many people have you converted? That's the stuff that you need to be tracking. Then you need to evaluate it and be like, okay, I didn't get a consult this week. What am I doing next week to bring in a consult? Like, what am I actually doing to bring in more people? That's the next question you want to ask yourself. And last but not least, you want to make sure that you are focusing in and you actually have a way for people for you to change your calendar the next week. I do not like, isn't it like something like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result? Don't let that be you. So I say all this to say if you are scaling to your first six figures, it is so possible. Please, I'm going to include a little worksheet to go along with this. Please, please, please learn from my mistakes and make your life easier as you scale to six figures. And if you want more of the how, if you want to know exactly what actions to take so that you're not just going through and being like, oh, I'm going to work on my business today. And you've got like on your calendar, work on business. And sometimes that means maybe making a website, maybe that's doing a post. We don't really know. If you want a very clear, simple structure that you can utilize for your week that has not only worked for me, but it has worked for every single one of my clients, I would love for you to join Six Figure Systems. My goal is that no one feels like they're throwing spaghetti at the wall anymore. You are not going to feel like you are building the plane as you fly it. You are going to have me guiding you the entire way to make sure that your business is set up to scale to six figures and not just your first six figures, but multiple six figures after that. You're going to know these same systems. I actually learned back in that hard year in 2021, and I've been able to utilize the exact same systems for the past 3 years. And in 2022, 2023, and 2024, of course, I've hit multiple six figures because of these systems. My clients are also creating the same insane results, especially now that I've been able to implement Systems Week. So this is something new if you're just joining this round of the mastermind, I did something that I hadn't done before. And it's a live event where you're going to get all of the systems, every single system customized and ready to go literally in 1 week. It's called Systems Week. And within this round of the mastermind, it's going to be from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern on November 18th to November 22nd. And within this time, you are literally by November 22nd, you are going to have your entire business and all the systems ready to freaking go for the next 6 months. And I think because I implemented this, like I mentioned like in previous episodes, people are getting insane results so much faster. They're making, I mean, like I think it was like 7 of 10 had a consult, and now actually 7 of 7 have signed a client 6 weeks in. We are getting such like the conversations are so much higher level. They are moving, they're ready to go. They're applying this to their posting and they're able to batch out their content already. Like that was something that used to take like 3 months, but now people are like batching their content starting in that first month. It's awesome. And I would not sell you on doing and getting involved in something like that if I didn't genuinely believe it. I would highly recommend that whether you're at the start of your business or trying to scale, this is going to be something that you will look back on years from now and still be using the same systems and scale to multiple six figures because of this. I've seen it, it's happening. It's just real. So within Systems Week, the reason why you leave with every system you need to grow your business to six figures is first and foremost, on Monday, we make your six figure offer and we talk about that six figure self concept. So I know that six figure version of you, literally after day one, we are able to create a solid six figure offer that I also would put my name behind. And I'm like, yeah, this is something that people would pay thousands of dollars for, and there's a population that makes sense. There is also this solves this very specific problem. This is a six-figure offer. And then the next day, we go over your entire marketing calendar. So if you are the kind of person that is chilling and is not doing, it's taking you forever to write a post, I'm going to show you how to make a marketing calendar in a simple, fast way that you are going to be able to fill out your entire marketing calendar for an entire month with just an hour and a half of your time. Then you're going to be able to batch out the copy or the words that you're writing every single week with, again, only an hour and a half. From there, on Wednesday, we're going to talk about how to sell that offer like it is the best thing since sliced bread. You're going to know exactly what to do on a consult call. You're going to know how to convert people and speak about your offer in a way that is compelling and something that people really, really want to invest in. Fourth day, on Thursday, we're going to talk all about how to manage leads, how you can alternate, what exactly to say to people. And I like for you to talk to 10 people a day, 30 minutes in the morning, alternating generating leads and nurturing your current audience. There's a very specific way that I teach that, and that is going to be on Thursday. And I'm going to teach you how to track people, how to actually start responding to people, and things that you can start doing literally on November 21st that you can do to like create more sales over that weekend. Because I want you signing people before the end of the year. That is my goal, is that you are bringing in humans all the way through the end of the year and that you are hitting your goals. And then last but not least, you're also going to know how to plan. You're going to get the infamous rainbow spreadsheet, or I guess the famous rainbow spreadsheet. And you're going to learn exactly how to track the metrics that actually matter. I'm going to talk to you about how to calendar your time like a badass six-figure owner. And you're also going to learn how to evaluate your next week so that you can change your calendar up and be extremely effective and productive every single week following. So if that sounds like it's for you, go ahead and use the link in the show notes to click and learn more information about the mastermind. I genuinely think it is going to be the investment that you look back on years from now and are like, wow, this is when things took off. And I cannot wait to see you there. So, another thing, if you're interested in learning more about the six figure systems process on November 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm doing a whole webinar called the Six Figure Systems Webinar, where I'm going to be teaching you how to scale to 100K with only 8 hours a week. So that 8 hours in the back end, how you can be super productive. You're going to learn why you're not hitting 100K. We're going to talk about how you can actually implement things starting this upcoming week that makes sense, and how you can structure your week. So not just the upcoming week, but weeks into the future, so that you're not ending this year short of your goals. You know exactly what to do and are finishing this year strong and starting next year stronger. So that is all for our podcast today. I know that was a lot of information. That is why I'm going to definitely include a worksheet to go along with this. I am so proud of each and every one of you, whenever you're listening to this, for scaling your business, for having this dream to get to a six-figure business. I know that you are able to help so many people, and I hope this helps you bring in even more amazing humans to your business.